I'm live. I am live. I see a couple of you in the building already. Make sure to hit that like as you come in. And as always, if you're watching the archives, below, leave your comments below. Always hit that like button and always hit that sub button if you're not subbed. And always hit the alerts too, because YouTube is not what YouTube used to be. Just because you sub to a channel doesn't mean you'll get access to their channel. You have to hit the alert so you know when they go live, unfortunately. Chauncey Burrell's in the building. Ryan did the right thing. I like his energy on calling out Tank and Tiafimo, and there's going to be a lot of buts on this channel. Be careful there. Is he really serious or is it just cap? Feel like you can't really trust this guy. Oh, we're going to be talking about that. JC in the building. Yo to JC back. And I've been chomping at the bit. It's been Thursday since I've been live. When we came on Thursday, we talked a lot about this fight and the betting odds and what to expect when the fight happened. And we gave you the top line bet down to the props and told you that is going to paint a picture as to how they feel the fight's going to play out. And I agreed with them. When I tell you there's no value in a fight, in betting a fight, that means that the top line all the way down to the prop bets, I think they're hitting it. I think it's going to be tough to beat Vegas and the odds makers on this because they've nailed it from top to bottom. And that was the case with this fight. We'll get more into that in a minute. Shout out my guy, Bruce Gas. I'll be on the panel with him tonight talking more about this on D-Style Boxing's channel. Chicano Prophet. Shout out Chicano Prophet in the building. Got mad love for all y'all dudes out there. And been chomping at the bit, man. I was in Alabama on vacation, beach vacation over the weekend, so I was out of commission Friday through Sunday, but I watched the fight live, and I watched it with casual boxing fans, which is always frustrating, right? It's always frustrating to watch fights with casual boxing fans because they start to ask good questions. They start to ask good questions that you can't answer as a boxing fan. You can't give them good, legitimate, clear, concise answers because there aren't legitimate, good, clear, concise answers when it comes to boxing due to everything surrounding boxing. So that's the most frustrating part is we talk bad about casual boxing fans and how frustrating it is to watch it with them because they have ignorance when it comes to the sport. But at the same time, they're asking common sense questions that you can't answer because, you know, you give them the boxing answer as to they're asking you, hey, well, Ryan's the champion, right? He's King Ryan. He's the champion. And you're like, no. Actually, Devin Haney's the champion in the division. And they're like, oh, so he's going to fight him next. And you're like, no, well, he's with this guy and he's with that guy. And then they their minds start to blow. And they're like, oh, this is why I stopped following boxing. So you start to get that stuff. And we'll talk more about the politics here in a minute. Shout out to Santeo Media in the building. You on vacation every weekend. Hey, it's summer. It's summer. We go on vacations here. Let's talk about the performance first and what we expected coming in and what we got. And what we expected coming in is what we got. What did we say coming in? Ryan Garcia minus 1,200 favorite, right? What does that mean? Ryan Garcia is supposed to win the fight overwhelmingly. And what did we also talk about? We had a split down the middle, 7.5 round over and under, minus 115 both ways. So a split right down the middle. So what Vegas is telling you there is we expect in the middle rounds for things to get dicey for Fortuna. That's what we talked about coming in. We also talked about there's really no value in this fight because when it comes to the Vegas odds, when it comes to the odds makers, I think they nailed this. Ryan Garcia is going to win the fight. He's the overwhelming favorite for a reason. He's going to win the fight. Either Fortuna is well past it or Garcia is looking good in camp. But Ryan Garcia is not going to lose this fight. Fortuna is certainly not going to win it by decision. If he's going to win, he's going to get a big lucky shot in the beginning rounds, but it's likely not going to happen. But Ryan Garcia should win this fight by stoppage. And guess what happened? Ryan Garcia won the fight by stoppage in the middle rounds, just like the odds makers said. And just like I said, there was no value in betting this fight because Fortuna was never going to pull off the upset. He just wasn't. So you start to ask the questions with that coming in. What value does this fight have? What are we going to know about Ryan Garcia after the fight that we didn't know about Ryan Garcia coming in? So what made this fight meaningful? What made it meaningful is Ryan Garcia said it after the fight. It gives me right back to the timetable I was on before the mental health break. I was supposed to fight Fortuna back then. I fought Fortuna tonight. I'm back on my timetable that I should have been on a year and a half ago. So that's good, right? It gets us closer to where we need to be with Ryan Garcia, and more on that in a minute. Other than that, what meaning did this fight bring? What did we know about Ryan Garcia coming in and what we talked about last week? Ryan Garcia has hand speed. Ryan Garcia has knockout power. Ryan Garcia is an economical fighter. What did we get in this fight? We got Ryan Garcia with hand speed, Ryan Garcia with power, and economical Ryan Garcia. Ryan Garcia was throwing 35 to 45 punches per round. That's what we come to expect with Ryan Garcia. More on that in a minute as well, because I got stuff to say about that when it comes to Ryan Garcia and Tank Davis. So we got all that from Ryan Garcia, and that's good enough to beat Javier Fortuna, a guy about number 15 in the division, right? It's good enough to beat him. But we knew all that coming in, right? We knew all of that with Ryan Garcia. So what we want is some of these questions to start being answered with Ryan Garcia. Like, what happens when Ryan Garcia can't be an economical fighter? What happens when he fights a high output fighter? What happens then? What happens when he fights a big puncher who can land punches at high power punches at high output and test that chin and test the dog in him? What happens then? None of that was going to be answered in this fight. And the Vegas odds makers told you that coming in, and they were right. They were right. This wasn't a hard fight to figure out. What else did we know about Ryan Garcia, or we thought we knew about Ryan Garcia coming in? We thought he was a huge draw in Los Angeles, right? 4 million Instagram followers plus all that good stuff. But what did we see in this fight? We saw a venue that when it comes to boxing, the capacity is 19,000. How many people were there? 11,000. And we have yet to know how many of those people got in for free. What happened when Tank Davis fought Isaac Cruz in LA? 15,000. Let me let that one hang for a little while. We'll get to that in a minute, but let's stick with Ryan Garcia and his performance. This is the Ryan Garcia we've come accustomed to and the Ryan Garcia we've come to expect, and we know that about Ryan Garcia. So we start to ask what coming forward, right? Because Ryan Garcia in this fight, he mixed up the body punching with the upstairs stuff, good body punching. You saw that in this fight. Didn't get hit much, economical fighter. Fortuna landed some shots, but Garcia walked through them. And that's pretty much the fight. I mean, there's nothing to really break down about this fight that we haven't seen from Ryan Garcia in the past. Nothing, right? So here's the questions coming forward. What happens next? I like what Ryan Garcia did after the fight. He called out Tank Davis. That's what you're supposed to do after a fight. You're supposed to finish off the job. And finishing off the job after a great performance is giving a great post-fight interview and saying, I want this guy next. Specifically, concisely saying, I want this fight next. Not, I need to talk to my manager. I need to talk to my promoter. I need to sit down. I need to sit down with my family. I need to take a vacation. Ryan Garcia did the right thing and said, no, we want Tank Davis next. There was no talks about, oh, he's on that side of the street, this side of the street. No, I want Tank Davis next. And that's what's good about what Ryan Garcia did. Now, the question going forward is this real? And is this realistic? Let's first talk about the roadblocks, right? Because I'm constantly reminded of the roadblocks when it comes to this fight. Not only are they with different promoters, one's with Oscar, one's with Floyd. Not only are they with different networks, one's with DAZN, one's with Showtime. Now we're going to have other roadblocks come into play. What's going to happen is Tank Davis is going to re-sign with Mayweather Promotions. Log it. It's going to happen. Tank Davis, a promotional free agent. Tank Davis, if he wanted the big fights, like I'm told he does, oh, the fighters always want the big fights. It's the politics that get involved. The fighters always want. I'm told that all the time. And it's cap. Of course it's cap. Because that's not the truth. If the fighters wanted the big fights, more fighters would be in the big fights and more fighters would be fighting top competition. You're giving these guys outs. You're capping for the fighters. And we're not into that on this channel. If Tank Davis wanted the big fights, guess what? All the big fights at 135 were with Top Rank. And oh, by the way, the top fights at 140 are mostly with Top Rank as well. So what would Tank Davis do? He'd go over and sign a 2, maybe 3 fight deal with Top Rank and have access to the top fighters in both divisions. But what's Tank going to do? Tank realistically is going to sign with Mayweather Promotions and continue on with what he's done, knowing that Tank Davis wins all the mythical matchups. Tank Davis versus 2009 Manny Pacquiao. Tank Davis wins that fight. Tank Davis versus Henry Armstrong at any weight. Tank Davis wins that fight. Tank Davis wins all the mythical matchups. All of them. Tank Davis doesn't have to fight the top fights because Devin Haney, he wins that fight. Easy. Vasily Lomachenko, why does Tank have to fight these fights? Why are you putting pressure on Tank to fight these fights? We all know Tank's the best. Tank wins all the mythical matchups. So Tank can continue on with the same process he's been on and re-sign with Mayweather Promotions and fight God only knows who next. God only knows who. So that's what's going to happen on that side. And then when that happens, Tank's going to send Leonard, Floyd, Steven Espinoza, Al, his whole crew over there to the bargaining room and say, hey, Ryan, you want this fight? You want this fight with Tank next? Here's the problem, Ryan. You just sold 11,000 people came to your fight, which is good. That's good in a vacuum. That's good. But here's the problem. You can ride your 10-speed Huffy from your house to Crypto Arena, formerly known as Staples Center, and you had 11,000 people at your fight. My guy is a 5-hour flight away. He just did 15,000 against the same level of opposition. So how's that going to work out, Ryan? Ryan's going to bring up his Instagram. We don't care about your Instagram followers. You can take a $12 Uber drive from your house to Crypto Arena, formerly known as Staples Center, and you had 11,000. My guy's got to take a 5-hour flight from across the country to Crypto, and he did 15,000. So that's going to come into play too. That's the next obstacle. So I'm telling you what's going to happen. Tank's going to demand 60%, 70%. Ryan's going to demand 50%. And as a boxing fan, I'm not capping for either guy because something's got to give. These fighters should find a way to get in the ring next. I'm being told it's unrealistic, Calix. It's unrealistic to think that Tank and Ryan should be fighting next. There's too many obstacles in the way. One's with the Zone, one's with Showtime. I don't care. I don't care. It should be realistic to think that these platforms should get on the same page and get these two guys in the ring together. One's with Oscar, one's with Floyd. I don't care. I don't care. Oscar and Floyd should be able to get in the same room together and say, hey, both of our fighters want this fight. Let's get them in the ring together. 60-40, 70-30, 50-50. I don't care what the split is. I don't care. Get the fighters in the same ring together. But what's going to happen is we're not going to get these fighters in the ring together later this year. We're going to get Tank Davis against number 15, 20 in the division. And then we're going to get Ryan Garcia against Jojo Diaz likely. And by the way, that's a decent consolation prize. It gets us closer to where we need to get with Ryan Garcia. It's not a bad fight, but it's not the fight that we want. And I'm tired of the capping for these guys. I'm tired of being told what's unrealistic because it's all realistic. Every fight between top fighters in each division is realistic. They're brainwashing you to think otherwise. There's no reason, none, that Ryan Garcia can't get in the ring with Tank Davis next and vice versa. I don't care. I don't care that Showtime and the Zone can't get along. I don't care that Oscar and Floyd can't get along. I don't care about the split. Get the damn guys in the ring together and get the fight done. It's very realistic. It's more than realistic, and it should be done. And I'm tired of the capping from both fan bases. And that doesn't just go with these two fighters. That goes division to division to division. Stop capping for the damn fighters. Stop capping for the networks. Stop capping for the promoters. Tired of it. Stop negotiating for them on social media. Tank Davis and Ryan Garcia belong in the ring together in the next fight. And look, man, I don't even care if it's these two guys. I've been told Tank Davis can't fight Devin Haney and George Kambosos and Vasily Lomachenko and Shakur Stevenson because he's on this side of the street and they're on that side of the street. Well, guess what? Tank Davis is a damn promotional free agent. So if Tank Davis wanted those fights, like the fan base tells me he wants the fights, he'll go over to Top Rank for a 2-fight deal and get those fights. But guess what? He doesn't want the fights, or at least he doesn't want them bad enough. But even if he signed with Mayweather Promotions and re-signed, I'm tired of hearing it's unrealistic for Mayweather Promotions to deal with Top Rank and for Top Rank to not deal with Golden Boy and for Matchroom to not deal with whoever. It should be realistic for cross-promotional fights. It should be realistic for the zone to say, hey, we'll give Showtime this one, give us the next one. All of this should be realistic. And at the same time, we're in a damn recession. Whether they told you that or not, July 1st started the recession, the unofficial, official recession. We're in it. And at the same time that we're in a recession, that gas prices are through the roof, electricity bills are through the roof, ESPN Plus just raised the monthly fee for their platform, for access to their platform. The Zone raised their price for their platform. I'm sure Showtime's going to raise the price for their platform as well. So it's going to be more expensive for us to access these fights. They're putting more of a burden on the fight fans to access these fights and to pay for the salaries of the fighters, the promoters, the managers, the network execs, the sanctioning bodies, all of it. It's coming on us. The consumer always pays for it. So I'm tired of hearing what's unrealistic when I'm paying more of the burden and I'm getting less for it. Make the damn fight. The Zone, Showtime. I know about it. I know all about it. I've been here a while. I've been around the block. I know the Zone and Showtime don't get along. I know Floyd and Oscar don't get along. I know it's hard to make cross-promotional fights, right? Until it's not. Because guess what? It's not. It's not unrealistic. It's not unrealistic for Ryan and Tank to get in the ring with each other. But they're going to continue to milk it, and they're going to continue to steer away from top fighters in these divisions. And what I wonder is, how do economical lightweights handle non-economical lightweights? And what I mean by that is Tank Davis is averaging 32, 35 punches per round. Ryan Garcia is averaging 35 to 45 punches per round. Is there a reason they're steering clear of guys like Devin Haney who throw a high output of punches, particularly jabs? George Kambosos, who has a high motor, a Lomachenko who has a high motor, a Shakur Stevenson who will not struggle at all with an economical puncher. Is there a reason we're being told that these fights for Tank Davis and Ryan Garcia are not realistic? Remember, 16 years combined, these two guys have been professional. These two guys have been pros for a combined 16 years. And guess how many top 5 opponents they have on their resume combined? Uno. Red flags everywhere. Red flags everywhere. But I'm being told that these two guys are the greatest thing since sliced bread. They're the greatest thing since Moses was up on that hill with the 10 Commandments. Ryan Garcia, Tank Davis would have destroyed a prime Henry Armstrong, would have destroyed a 135 Manny Pacquiao. Tank Davis wins all the mythical battles, but yet one top 5 opponent. Ryan Garcia, 0. So what am I to do with that? What am I to do with that? And I'm being told also by content creators that Devin Haney needs to be more like Ryan Garcia and Tank Davis. Imagine that. Because Devin Haney can't draw people because Devin Haney's so boring. Did you not watch the Linares fight? Did you not watch the Jojo Diaz fight? Because those fights were not boring. And oh, by the way, the same people at the same time were telling me that Devin Haney was very flawed because he was getting hit. Which one is it? Do you want to see a guy not get hit? Or do you want to see an exciting fighter who gets hit? Which one do you want to see? What do you want to see? And I'm being told Devin Haney needs to be more like the guys who don't fight anybody because those guys are exciting. Those guys pass the eye test with flying colors. Dummies. Maybe it has something to do with the B side on these three fighters' resumes. And this is the frustrating part to me, and I'll circle it all the way back. It's not the promoters, the managers, the network execs, the sanctioning bodies who are our enemies. It's not. Yes, they built a sport that's currently unsustainable. Yes, I get it. But they've done it on your backs. And you continue to clap for them like seals. Yes, give me more, Mr. Promoter. Yes, give me more, Mr. Manager. As long as my fighter's winning, yes. Because Lord knows I can pay my electrical bill with Tank Davis's pay-per-view earnings. Lord knows I can pay my electric bill with Ryan Garcia with the gate that he got from those 11,000 fans that came in the building at Crypto Arena. Give me more, Mr. Manager. Yes. Yeah, I'm not getting the fight that I want, but as long as you get me like the fight that's the 10th best of what I wanted, I'm here for it, Mr. Manager, Mr. Promoter, Mr. Network Exec. Give me more. Give me more. Like Tina walking through the door. Yes, Ike. I'm back. I'm back, Ike. Yes, I'll cook your dinner. Yes. Yes, I'll sell more records and cook your dinner. Yes. Hit me again. I'm tired of being told it's unrealistic. It's all realistic. They brainwashed you to talk like them. It's realistic for Tank and Ryan to fight next. These hurdles that they built up, these hurdles that they put in front of themselves can easily be crossed over. They can do a cross-promotional event. They can say, hey, Showtime, you get this one. DAZN gets the next one. Tank could be knocking on the door. Hey, Leonard. Hey, Floyd. I want this fight. Make it happen. They come back and say, hey, we can't get. No. Go back in. Make it happen. Ryan can be doing the same thing. It's all realistic. It's all realistic. They brainwashed you into thinking that it's not. So what you're going to get, and you're going to like it, is Ryan versus JoJo next, and Tank versus, like I said, God only knows who. God only knows who they're going to roll out next for Tank. Abner Maris, Isak Cruz 2, Matteo Barrios 2, Raleigh Romero 2. And you're going to love it, and you're going to take it. And you're going to pay more for ESPN Plus. You're going to pay more for Showtime. You're going to pay more for DAZN. You're going to be asked to carry more of a burden. And you're going to have fight fans that think it's a good idea. Like the fight fans and content creators here on the YTBC who told me that I should be paying $150 for Crawford versus Spence if I want the fight. Yes, for this fight to get made, the casuals aren't into it, so us boxing fans should pick up more of a burden and pay twice the price for it. Yes. Yeah. Go to hell. Go to hell. 16 years combined between these two fighters. 16 years. And look, it would get me a lot more subscribers and a lot more viewers if I said, oh, Ryan, look, Ryan was incredible. Ryan was incredible. The hand speed was off the charts. We knew that already. We knew the hand speed was off the charts. We knew the punching power was off the charts. We knew he was an economical, high percentage power puncher coming in. And we still know that. What new? What's new? We're 6 years in. What else do we know? I should be on here capping for Ryan Garcia because it would be good for my subs. I should be on here capping for Tank Davis because it would be good for my subs. 16 years combined, one top 5 fighter on their resume combined. And y'all think that's okay. Y'all think that's okay. In what world should that be okay? How low is your standards? He's got 4 million Instagram followers, Callis. I don't care. Why should Tank step it up when he's doing what he's making the money he's doing? How do y'all think that's okay? How do y'all think that's okay? They're universally seen as the number 4 and 5 guy at 135. And they have 16 years of combined experience with one top 5 guy on their resume. What world am I living in? I can't be the only one, right? I can't be the only one who sees this. And I'm told Devin Haney needs to be more like them because they look great. Devin Haney would look incredible with Tank Davis's resume. Devin Haney would look incredible with Ryan Garcia's resume. He'd also look exciting. But Devin needs to be more exciting. Imagine how stupid you have to be. And God, I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry for being frustrating today. It just bothers me sometimes. It really bothers me to see some of the stuff I see on the YTBC. But imagine Ryan Garcia and Tank Davis have 16 years of combined experience with one top 5 guy on their resume. Ryan Garcia looks good, and we expected that coming in because Ryan Garcia was a minus 1,200 favorite. He was favored to stop Fortuna in the middle rounds because Ray Charles, Stevie Wonder, and Helen Keller combined could see that he was going to stop Fortuna in the middle rounds. And you see that, and you tell me that Ryan Garcia versus Tank Davis is unrealistic and that these guys can't fight each other because of all the obstacles in their way, even though Tank Davis is a promotional free agent. Once again, he can go anywhere and fight anybody he wants. Keep that in mind. But despite all that, you wind up on Devin Haney as the topic. You wind up on Devin Haney being unexciting, and Devin Haney needs to be more like Tank Davis and Ryan Garcia. Imagine that. Imagine a guy who was actually exciting against Linares and Jojo Diaz, and y'all were destroying him for being exciting in those fights because he looked flawed while being exciting. And then he goes and signs a 4-fight deal with Top Rank just so he has access to the top fighters in the division at 135 and 130 if Shakur Stevenson will move up. He's daring to be great, and he's saying, I'll fight Kambosos in Australia, and guess what? If I beat him, I'll go back over there and fight him again. But he needs to be more like the guys who, in 16 years combined, have fought one top 5 guy in their division. Nobody's saying boxing is dying. I've seen the articles from a century ago. All I'm saying is it could be better. And all I'm saying is your standards are too low. If you think Tank Davis and Ryan Garcia can't fight next, and if you think that Ryan Garcia's resume up to this point is okay, and if you think Tank Davis's resume up to this point is okay, because guess what? In both cases, it is not. It's not. It's not okay. How old is Devin Haney? 23? What is Devin Haney? He's the undisputed lightweight champion of the world. But he needs to be more like the guy with no belts. That's why I say in a lot of cases, the boxing fans are my enemy, not the promoter. I know what I'm getting from the managers, promoters, network. I know what I'm getting from them. I've come accustomed to it. I've been here 2 decades plus. It's the fans who think this stuff is okay. And it's the fans who fight the mythical battles for the fighters online. It's the fans who play de facto proxy manager promoters for this guy online, for these guys online. It's them that I have a problem with this at this point. It's them. I am joining D-Style live stream tonight. I'll be in the building, Beeb, with all the great boxing minds on D-Style Boxing's channel, and I'll have a lot to say about this. Just frustrated, man. I'm frustrated. We know Goosen has improved him with all those years' experience. You wouldn't think he was 103 years old to look at him. And look, it's hard to know. It's hard to know how far he's come with Goosen because it's the first fight, and we got what we like. He was supposed to stop Fortuna in the middle rounds. He was supposed to. That was supposed to happen. And I know Fortuna has only been knocked out once, and he was up on the scorecards and all that good stuff. I get it. But this was supposed to happen. And yes, Ryan Garcia passed the eye test. Yes, Tank Davis passed the eye test, but that's all we got to go off of. And I can't say it enough. Economical fighters, can they survive against top competition in the lightweight division? Can you be a lightweight and throw the output that a light heavyweight throws and fight guys with high output in the fight? Look, Teofimo Lopez stepped up against Lomachenko in 2020. He won the fight. How did he win the fight? So much was talked about Teofimo's power coming into that fight, but how did he win the fight against Lomachenko? He beat Lomachenko's output for the first 7 rounds of the fight. He won the fight in the first 7 rounds. And he cut off the angles. But he beat Lomachenko's output for the first 7 rounds. Will Tank Davis be able to fight a fight in which he throws 30 to 35 punches around against a Devin Haney who will be popping him with jabs constantly, throwing 70 to 80 punches per round? Will he be able to do that against Lomachenko? Even a Kambosos who has a high motor, high output? We don't know. We don't know because these guys refuse to step up. But my main point here is don't let them brainwash you into thinking that Tank Davis and Ryan Garcia can't happen next, because it can, and it should. I'm well aware of the obstacles, and I'm sure I'll be hearing about it for the months to come. About DAZN, Showtime, Golden Boy, Mayweather Promotions, splits. Ryan Garcia did 11,000 in this fight. Tank Davis did 15,000 at Crypto Arena against similar opposition. We'll be hearing about that and splits and why this fight can't be made. They've lowered your standards. They've lowered your standards. Of course, this fight is realistic. Of course, it's realistic. Of course, it's realistic for all the top fights to get made. And by the way, who is Ryan Garcia calling out at 140? He's calling out Teofimo Lopez. Who is Teofimo Lopez with? Top rank. So Ryan Garcia can call out a top-ranked fighter at 140, but not at 135? And y'all are telling me that Teofimo Lopez is realistic at 140, yet Devin Haney, Kambosos, Lomachenko, Shakur Stevenson, not realistic at 135? Once again, it's the brainwashing. All of these fights are realistic. They're all realistic. All of them. They can all get made. They don't want them. They don't want you to think they can get made. They don't want you to take the red pill and realize that, yes, all these fights can get made. They can all get made. All of them. Every single one of them. This fight's being made. It's already being sold to us. It's been sold to us in the past. They were on Mike Tyson's podcast selling this fight a year ago, and it didn't get made. Ryan did 11K by himself. Pitbull drew 6,000 to 7,000 by himself. Those numbers seem arbitrary to me. And at the end of the day, I could really care less about him, other than I think Ryan Garcia is capable of doing more than 11,000. And if Ryan Garcia would be meeting the fan base's expectations, Ryan Garcia would be doing more than 11,000. Tank Davis's crew is going to roll up and say, hey, We did more than that. Hey, Jake Paul and Logan Paul can do more than that. Hey, Canelo does more than that. Andy Ruiz would do more than that in this building. You're not even in the top handful. Bam Rodriguez might do more than that in a Staples Center. That's what they're going to tell Ryan Garcia. And that's what they're going to sell to you as an obstacle as to why this fight can't get made, because they demand a much higher split because of what these two fighters did in the same building against the same level of opposition. I'm just telling you, that's going to be the narrative coming in as well. But keep in mind, this fight is realistic and it should happen next. And the reason it's a good fight, not only because both fighters are crossover stars, is because stylistically, they're almost the same fighter. They both have great hand speed. They both have great punching power, and they're both economical fighters. I'm tired of hearing all these guys say, look, Tank against Ryan? Tank would beat Ryan easy. Tank just lost 3 rounds to Rolly Romero in 6 rounds. Tank arguably lost 6 to 7 rounds against Isaac Cruz. Tank lost 5 rounds of the 10 rounds against Matteo Barrios. And you're telling me he's not going to give up rounds against Ryan Garcia? Is that what you're going to try to tell me? Of course Ryan Garcia would win rounds against Tank Davis. Of course he would be competitive against Tank Davis, because everybody is. Remember the Tank Davis theorem. Guys lose to Tank Davis, and it's the greatest loss ever. It's the greatest loss ever. Yes, Matteo Barrios lost, but guess what? Matteo Barrios looked incredible losing. He looked incredible. Phenomenal. It's the greatest loss I've ever seen. It was so great of a loss that the B-side fighter, it's the first time I've ever seen a B-side fighter on a pay-per-view land the B-side on another pay-per-view in the very next fight. That's how great of a loss it was for Matteo Barrios. Yes, Isaac Cruz lost the fight, but Isaac Cruz looked great. Isaac Cruz, the first fighter in the history of boxing to lose a fight and catapult up the rankings. He goes from not even being talked in the rankings to number 6 at lightweight, all off of a loss. Yes, Rolly lost the fight, but Rolly looked great losing. Rolly lost the fight, but man, Rolly looked great. He looked like he was on the spectrum before the fight. Hitting piñatas in the parking lot, looking terrible, shadow boxing. But he won 3 rounds against Tank. So now Rolly's a bona fide star. It's the Tank Davis theorem. Guys lose to Tank Davis, and it's the greatest loss we've ever seen. Every single mythical matchup. I've heard it all. Tank beats Henry Armstrong. Tank beats 135 Manny Pacquiao. He beats them all. He didn't have to fight. Why are you even bringing Tank into the mud? Why would you even bring Tank into the conversation? Like this is below Tank. Tank against Ryan? Tank doesn't have to fight Ryan. Tank doesn't have to fight Devin. Like, keep those guys over. Like Shakur, keep those guys over there. Tank's above that. Well, who should Tank fight then? Well, you see that guy that's 23 at lightweight in BoxRec? He's a good fighter. You should fight him. He should fight the number 23 guy in the division. Yeah, but he's 23, and the other guy is number 1, and the other guy is number 3. Yeah. But the guy at 23, I'm telling you, he's got punching power. It's just that nobody's discovered him yet. Like he's that good. He's just underrated. And the guy at 1 and 3, those guys just overrated. Tank shouldn't fight them. And this fight's going to be tough for Tank. This guy's better than you think. And then Tank struggles with the guy. And then he catapults up the rankings. That's how this works. And that's how it's going to work again. And that's why I'm trying to prepare you. This is what's going to happen. They're going to put all these mythical obstacles in the way. They built up these obstacles to be bigger than they actually are in the mind of a boxing fan. They've propagandized you into thinking because this fight is with this promoter and this fight is with this promoter, that fights can't happen. It can't happen. Now we've got this fight is with this network, this fight is with that work. That can't happen. We can't do that. We can't do that. And then we got splits. We got ring size, and we got glove size, and what gloves the fighters are going to wear. So these fights can't happen because of that. They can't. And we can't trouble these fighters. We just can't trouble them because at the end of the day, they're the ones pouring out blood in the ring. So, we can't ask too much. We can't ask too much of these fighters. You're going to look like somebody cheering on gladiators to die at the Coliseum. We can't do that as boxing fans. We can't. We got to be above that. And by the way, we got to pay more for our ESPN Plus subscription. We have to do more as boxing fans. We have to pay more for our DAZN subscription. We have to do more. We need to do more as boxing fans. And Crawford versus Spence isn't happening for $75, so we need to pay double. We need to pay $150. We need to do more as boxing fans. It's Tina continuing to walk through the front door to Ike. She keeps walking through the door. She keeps making that dinner. She makes breakfast, lunch, dinner. Then she goes out after dinner, does concerts, makes hit after hit after hit. Ike's lifestyle is dependent on what Tina does, and Tina keeps walking through that door. And what I'm telling you as boxing fans, we need to drop what's love got to do with it. We need to tell Ike, look, Ike, I've been carrying this. This house, it was built off of my back. The boxing fans, yes, the boxing fans make this sport go, but you can't do this without the boxing fans. You can't do it without the boxing fans. We're the ones subsidizing all of this, all of it. All of your salaries are paid for by us. So I don't want to hear any damn thing about promoters, networks, splits. I don't want to hear it. Make the fight. Make the fight. And look, Ryan Garcia versus Jojo Diaz likely happens next. Tank versus the number 87 guy in the division likely happens next. And I'm not saying Ryan versus Jojo Diaz doesn't provide some sort of value. I'm not saying that because at least Jojo Diaz is number 6 in the division, but it's not what we want to see. The fight is there. There's no need to milk it anymore. It's there. And it can happen. And it should happen. Make the fight. Don't be happy with subpar, a subpar product that they're going to provide you. Don't be happy with it. Expect greatness. Expect greatness. Expect greatness. And that's all I got to say about that, man. But Ryan Garcia is a good performance. It was a good performance. But we knew it was going to be a good performance. We knew it. We knew it. What did it tell us? What did we know before the fight? Hand speed, power, economical output. What did we get in this fight? Hand speed, power, economical output. We knew it. At least it gets us back on Ryan Garcia's timetable. At least it gets us closer to big fights. But in order to fulfill that, we've got to get big fights now. Yes, you're back on the timetable. Good. Congratulations. You called out Tank Davis. You finished the job. Good. Congratulations. But now the fight has to materialize. Now we got to get it done. And it should get done. Sorry I chose war today, but sometimes it's necessary.